Why, hello everyone, welcome to Playframe and welcome to Lunistis. If you've not heard of this, and you, I'm guessing probably haven't, I hadn't until somewhat recently, this is an indie game that came out late last year, which is a sort of platformer runner love letter to the PS1 and Sega Saturn era of games. It honestly, it feels to me like a long lost... My cat's yelling, hang on. My cat just decided, you know, you closed a door and how dare you? And I open the door, she comes in and decides she's going to just steal the chair I'm sitting in right now. Prinny, you can't just have this. I'm busy, cat. Anyway, this is a game that's a throwback to games of this sort of like PS1 era, and it is extremely effective at being so. I think you could have convinced me, someone could have convinced me that this came out and no one heard about it back in the day. It really just captures that vibe extremely well. Let me sort of demonstrate by showing you the tutorial. System training. So one thing that I really like about this, before I even start like moving around, is that they've got a lot of kind of graphics customizing settings you can do in here to kind of just control how authentic to the look of old PS1, Sega Saturn era games this goes. So for example, you could shift it to having some depth of field, which I've not really seen kick in on any level yet, but you could turn on a CRT filter, which is kind of nice, gets us a little closer to how this would have looked back in the day. Alternatively, if you prefer something that just feels a little more crisp and modern, you can go for like the high-res sort of like a modern day remake look that a lot of games would do instead. If you really want to go authentic though, you can go 20 FPS mode, which like a lot of games on these old consoles ran below 30 FPS, the current standard, down in the 20s, sometimes even the teens. But there is something about this that does make it feel kind of like how some of those games often did. We won't do that. We'll turn that back off. But I love that the option exists, that they're like giving you the option to throw on these old sort of like classic vibes to make the game feel even more like something that came out of that era. Honestly, like this is such a difficult gen of game to do a like modern remaster port of, just because of like the restrictions. And something that like often bothers me with like remasters of PS1 type era games is that they sort of mix and match the level of fidelity on various assets. Like you'll have a background, like maybe a pre-rendered 2D background that is low res like this, but you'll have characters in the foreground who are high res like this, running around at fluctuating frame rates that the original game didn't run on. Like it's so, like it irks me in ways that it probably irks almost nobody else. But here, we'll go back to the default look, and let me show you around. So, left stick to move. Love the sound effects, by the way. A to jump. We'll collect our little cranes. Double jump. You can move slow by holding down the right trigger, which is sometimes very helpful for precision. Attack with X. It feels really good to move around, and in sort of like a way that feels almost specific to this gen as well. Like it doesn't handle exactly like a Mario or a Sonic or lots of other kinds of like running and 3D platforming games. Like your character doesn't have a super sharp turning radius like you see when I try to like do a quick like U-turn. It like it takes a little bit to sort of turn around there. Like your character really wants to be doing sort of like more sweeping turns and running straight ahead, which does feel really good when you can maintain that forward momentum. But it does mean that it's like not, it takes a little bit of learning. There's a slight learning curve to handling this character correctly. Also, you can use the bumpers for like jumps and attacks if you want to. I don't prefer that, but you can. And there's a tutorial. That's the whole thing. Now my other cat wants out of the... Cats, make up your mind which room you want to be in. No sooner have I got Prinny in here satisfied than Gwitty is like, actually, if we're opening and closing the door, I would very much like to be on the other side of this one. If that's okay. She's asking much more politely, though, Prinny. You could learn from your... She's going away. Anyway, let's start the actual game. Even the cutscenes feel extremely this gen of game.
September 2nd, 2453. Almost a full year of simulations with no tangible results. I'm continuing to do small tweaks to the process, but without deeper understanding of the underlying system. I wish we could contact the professor, but communications are still disrupted. She would know what to do. She is responsible for this whole situation after all. At least my quarantine thread seems to be holding up. It seems like preparations for the next sample loop are complete. Our next case is a scout, Hana, who's been showing signs of minimal control over the program. I'm, well, not getting my hopes up anymore, but... Anyway, commencing sample loop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right? Like, aren't the vibes just so accurate feeling? Like, this really specific aesthetic whimsy to the way the game looks and the colorfulness of it. The, like, weirdly... that contrasted with, like, a weirdly serious tone of story with, like, a voice actor that feels like exactly like the kind of voice they would cast to voice somebody in these games back in the day. Probably somebody with a lot less voice acting experience who sounded more amateur. Like, there's something so... this generation of Sega or Sony type game in this that, like, I don't even have a lot of nostalgia for those. I was a Nintendo kid, and this isn't like the era of game that I tend to have like peak nostalgia for, but something about this feels so faithful to that and familiar that it's like resonating with me anyway. I'm really impressed by this. And it feels really good running around in this game. So, you want to run through these levels, you want to collect your cranes, you can kind of see we've got our, like, crane count up there. You don't have to have all 137 cranes in order to complete the level, but you do get a score at the end. So, the faster you can run through these levels, the less time you can take, and the more cranes you can gather, the better your score. But also, it's not just a linear path. No. There's little side paths. This is the kind of, like, platformer floor that they would have started doing, like, in this era of 3D as well, just sort of showing off, hey, like, look at all the 3D we can do. It's just, like, it's so charming. So, like, here's a little side path we could run off of if we wanted to do a bit of a challenge. Let's see. To get an H, we're going to spell our name. If we can find all of them. There's probably another one. Yes! Oh, it's... Whoa, careful. Your character does move fast pretty quickly, though, so it's real easy to run yourself off an edge. If you're not taking advantage of that move slowly button, which I keep forgetting exists. There's a checkpoint, though. That helps. This feels like it's really nailing, like, Spyro energy. Like, Spyro mixed with... it's like half Spyro and half some other thing. Hang on. Don't jump before you know where you're going. Some other thing that I can't quite put my finger on. I feel like a Sega kid from this generation would be able to tell me exactly what it is. I'm enjoying it quite a bit, too. And it's quite cheap as well. So if this is looking like something that you'd be into, it's not going to cost you much. And there is the end. Woo! Loving the UI as well, and the menus. Look at that! I did great. Next level, let's go. I'm really digging that we have hit the era where there's indie games intentionally going for... I took a hit there. Intentionally going for this aesthetic and this era of game. Like, we've been doing the nostalgia phase for pixel art games of the 8 and 16-bit generations, and I am all on board for that, and I don't want that to stop. I love it. We've been seeing so much incredible pixel art every single year, and keep that coming. But I love that these sort of 32-bit and sort of like PS1 and 64 era games are starting to show up, intentionally going for this specific kind of limitation in the aesthetic. It's like, how often do you see games looking like this anymore? Not often. I feel like I missed a side path somewhere, maybe 2. Oh yeah, there's something over there. Screw good times, I'm going for it. If I can figure out how on earth? Boy, that was way back there. It's fun music too. Here we go, okay. It just feels really good to, because your character doesn't turn on a dime, but can move forward very quickly, it feels very good to just keep on charging forward, not slowing down, not having to turn much, just moving efficiently forward through a level. Feels very good. I'm sure this has probably already showed up at a GDQ of some sort. I'm sure this feels like it is laser focused at speedrunners trying to get their attention. I could see this just feeling great to speedrun. All right, we've got 100 or so cranes, which is definitely not 157, is it? Boy, that's a lot. Glad we got a checkpoint, though. Let's check this out. Ooh, this moves slow because we've got a precision platforming challenge, so I'm holding down the trigger now, because otherwise these jumps are gonna be tricky. They're kind of tricky anyway. Yes. 1 letter remaining. Oh boy. No, okay. I'm very glad. I didn't know that you could... I know you can double jump, and I know you can attack to get 1 more boost. I didn't know you could do the attack as the middle jump. That's pretty cool. So you've got 2 jumps and an attack, and they can happen in any order you want. Oh, this looks... Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh no! Ooh, I'm okay, maybe? No, I'm not. Crystals break. I'm not okay. Ow. Now we have to do it. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I should go slower. Yeah, that's slow though. Here we go. Okay, okay, come on. Whoop, there we go. Okay. Now, there's my rhythm. Okay. Found the feel of it. Why is this reminding me of Elden Ring more than anything? Recency bias, I suppose. Let's go! Running through all these gates feels really cool. Yeah, this is just a good time. If you're looking at this and feeling like, that looks kind of fun, I can almost guarantee you're going to enjoy yourself. Didn't do as good that time, that's fine. But it looks like we're going to a new stage. Ooh. This will be fun. Beach Summer. Go. Okay, this aesthetic just kind of rules. This execution on it especially. Just really great, like, color palette work, and there's a cohesion to this that even a lot of the games from that generation that this is imitating I feel like aesthetically didn't quite capture all the time. It felt a little bit more mishmashed and thrown together in a still charming way, but this this feels like a refinement. Ooh. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Getting some new mechanics in here and some bounces. Yeah, movement in this game just feels really good. Where am I going? Okay. That's not what I expected. There's other jumps that way, though. Go back. This away. Boing, boing. Oh no. Oh no! Water! Try again. What is going to happen over there? I'm very curious what we're looking at in the huge water bubbles. Okay. Okay, too far, but we saved it. Okay. H. Charge. Checkpoint. All right. Something's gonna be down there. There was not. Sometimes you do something and ooh, I love the look of that. Sometimes you do something and you could just hear the Arrested Development narrator in your head contradicting your prior assertion. Gotta try it. Okay, okay, okay. Ah. Oh no, I missed. Try again. Oh yeah, that filter look. That happens as soon as you enter the water. Way into that. Ow. This time. Okay. Oh no. Oh. Oh, okay. I'm here now and everything's fine. Yay, I got a letter. I wonder what happens if you get all the letters. Is it just bonus points or am I like unlocking something and doing this? Oh no. Weirdly, like, on the one hand, I feel like I am... There's actually a setting for this. Hang on. There's a setting for this. Options. Graphics. Maybe it's not graphics. It's gameplay. Player shadow on. Does this do... It does. It does the thing where you can see your character's position. This is why retro games always did, like, your player character's shadow immediately underneath you all the time, even though it's not accurate to like the light source, and we can do differently now, but it tells you your position in 3D space in a really helpful way. That's useful. And I love that it's an option as well. There is an attention to graphical and aesthetic, like, detail and faithfulness in this that I so rarely feel from, like, kind of bigger, larger game company remastering efforts of retro stuff. It's endlessly frustrating to me. I know it's very hard to do. Like, it's really, okay. It's really hard finding the exact right balance between faithfulness to previous limitations aesthetically while making something run on television screens that did not exist back then. And making concessions to sort of like modern accessibility and usability and expectations and stuff like that. That's a devilishly hard balance to strike. I missed a letter. It's okay. I'm still proud of myself getting to the end of this level. At least my character is. Fair. This is so fun. What fun vibes. Let's see if we can just, like, gun it for the end of a level quickly. Crane count and letters and such be darned. Let's just go for speed. Going fast with this character just feels great. Oh, no. That's going to impact our time somewhat. But I love that the time to respawn is quick. Just getting you right back in the action that way. The less time passes between its attempts, the better. I know we're supposed to be going fast, but what happens in here? Oh, that's going to be challenging! I'm giving that one more try. I'm trying to think of other games that this aesthetically reminds me of. Like a little bit of Nights into Dreams, but way like more aesthetically cohesive. It's pretty looking. Insult to injury. All right, we'll go around this time. Oh no. Yeah, it probably would be a lot faster to jump around that way, but man, I can't imagine the skill required. I think that's an optional path. I think. Hard to tell sometimes, but boy, yeah, like replayability on this is gonna be great too. Like, kind of having that sense of like learning the level, mastering how to get around it quickly, figuring your route out. I can just swipe this right here. Boring. Okay, okay. Careful. No, okay. It is occasionally challenging to kind of like get a sense for where you are in 3D space. Although, in the game's defense, also a common problem in this generation of platformer. And some of that is just sort of like developing a feel for it with time. Oh, a secret. Well, now that I'm here, might as well. I meant to speed through this level, and yet I've gotten both of the letters I could get so far. I'm that good, I guess. Keep going. No, no. Oops. Very oops. Very much appreciating the generous checkpointing, given the length of these levels. I guess it could be more generous even, but I'm not hitting a point of frustration yet. Yeah, this is just like a good vibes, good time. Even if you don't have nostalgia for this era of game, if you just kind of enjoy platformers and this kind of gaming challenge, go grab this. This is fun. Okay, where are we going? Saved it. Honestly, like, this does not look, like, aesthetically, I could totally see... This is not wildly off of, like, Sonic. Sonic games could look like this. If Sonic games played like this, I would be a Sonic fan 100%. All right, let's do one more level just because I want to see another aesthetic, and then we'll, then we'll call it a day. Park Family. Let's go! Yet another indie game soundtrack I have to pick up. Ow, no, saved it. Man, it'd be so fun to work on a game like this. Like, all this animation work looks really good. It's nice and simple from that era, but really appealing. And animating such simple characters, whoa! Oh, this is kind of cool. Animating such simple characters like this, I can see that being really fun. Like, I've worked on mobile games before, which tend to have very simple characters, very tiny, like, polygon counts, even tinier, like, animatable joint counts. So you have very few controls to work with, but simple characters can be so fun to animate. You've only got a few controls to work with, so you gotta, like, make the most out of every single one of them. That's the thing that can make Toy Story fun to animate on, like, especially, like, so one of the shorts I worked on was called Small Fry, which involves a whole lot of, like, Happy Meal toys with very few moving parts, just kind of like cheap toys. And those are so fun to animate. Sometimes it's fun animating a big, complicated character with lots of moving parts that you gotta do tons of, like, work and planning and stuff to get some cool motion out of, and lots of times when you're animating characters, you want to have robust control so you can do all kinds of, like, all the movement and, like, expression shaping and pose work and stuff that, you can just to have full control. Sometimes, though, just having a dead simple character is a blast. Like making little Minecraft animations. I have no idea what, like, actually animating in Bedrock Engine or whatever feels like. It's probably not nearly as fun as it seems in my head, but dead simple characters like that would be super fun. Also for how fast you'd be able to work. Well, I'm not good at this game, but it rules. Highly recommended if you enjoy platformers and retro vibes. But let's go. That's enough for today. Let's go. Let's exit level. That's Lunistus, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed. I've had a great time. But I'll see you tomorrow for some more God of War Ragnarok. Take care until then. Bye.